Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I was actually going to do the acetone vapor headlight restoration, but honestly after using that kit I came in here this morning and this headlight was all cracked and it looked like UV damage on it. I think I may have used too much acetone. I went over it 2 or 3 times to try to smooth it out using that method. If you saw my Instagram story, it looked really good for a while. I came in it was actually overnight. Came back in the next day, it was really yellow, and I actually had to sand this thing down with 220, 400 grit, 600 grit, 800, all the way up to 2000, and then I had to polish it out. And the 220 was really scary because I had to go in pretty deep to get those cracks out of there. They didn't go all the way through. They were really on the surface, but they were pretty deep. Luckily, I did get it restored. It looks a lot better. It actually looks better than it did. So I'm really not going to recommend doing that acetone vapor restoration because long term it's probably going to do damage, and you really have to be careful. You really only should do one pass most likely. Otherwise it's going to damage the acrylic or the polycarbonate, whatever these are made out of, and you're going to get those cracks just like you see in some of the older headlights that have the UV damage. Today's video I'm actually going to be trying to work on this CRX door here, this driver's side door that came in, shipped to me. It was damaged. I've got a hammer and dolly set here that I picked up from Harbor Freight. I'm going to put this on the rack and see if I can get this thing straightened out as best I can. I really have no idea how to use this. I'm just going to wing it. I'm sure just a little bit of beating on it and it will come out a little bit. And honestly, I can smooth it over with some body filler or glazing putty to finish it up. So let's get into this and see how far we can get. Well, this video has been a little bit different. I skipped showing a lot of the work on this door because it's really not exciting to watch. I did show a little bit of that hammer and dolly set that I got from Harbor Freight here on the edges here. Honestly, that turned out awesome. I'm really happy with how that looks now. You can't even tell that it was damaged in shipping. Both sides turned out great. I just threw a little bit of a glazing putty in there to smooth out the surface and then rebuild some of these lines here on the edges. No big deal whatsoever. I'm not happy with how the epoxy primer turned out. I wanted to get this thing all sealed in and some of the old layers just covered up. But honestly, I should have done it in the garage where it was warm or just waited until it was warmer outside. It was about 50 degrees. And this panel, I had set it out there a little while and the temperature was dropping, so the panel got cold, and this epoxy primer does not like cold weather. So I'm just going to let this cure. It's going to take a few days because it's pretty cold outside. I've got the temperature turned up to 70 in here now. So I'm going to let this warm up, fully cure, and then I'm going to probably throw on a few coats of high build primer because there are a few low spots. Actually, there's just one low spot right here. It may take a little bit of glazing putty to smooth out. But I'm going to not touch anything and let this cure like I said. And then we'll go back and finalize the body work. And hopefully that'll be it for this door. And I'll be ready to spray some paint or at least block it out after I get the high build primer on there. Because I still have to block out the other door. I did spray the jambs, but the front of the door needs to be blocked down. So I'll probably paint those at the same time or block those down at the same time as well. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. It's been a little bit different. I'm not real happy with this video, but this is work that needs to be done, and I just want to show you some of the work that has to go into this because it's really time consuming, and honestly, this is not fun whatsoever. And I'll be happy to get into the actual sanding and polishing of the paint once it's on there, because that's really whenever you start seeing all this work come to fruition and the satisfying part of it. So we'll just see you in the next video.